Alright, so welcome back to another episode on Stauffer Garage, guys, and today we are detailing this Silverado that is a hunter's truck. And as you guys can see from those before shots, that we have a few interesting things inside this truck that we typically don't see in my details, but it is also a cold day in Ohio. It is honestly about 45 degrees or so. It's raining the whole time I'm doing this detail, but I still wanted to do this outside wash for you guys. Get the car all washed on the outside, bring it on in to get the inside done as well. Let's go ahead and get started with this outside. And if you guys are new, hit that subscribe button down below. Make sure you turn on those notifications because I have a new video coming out every single week that you guys do not want to miss. So since it is after Thanksgiving, that means I am running a huge Black Friday special on foxclean.com. So I need you guys to head on over there after this video, pick up detailing brushes, microfiber towels, drying towels, stock up. They make great Christmas gifts and stocking stuffers. So make sure you go help support this channel by picking up your supplies now. They're honestly at a huge discounted price. So head on over there after this video and make sure you stock up. Now, because this car was used as a hunter's truck, it was also used for working on the farm. It's got tons of mud and stuff inside the fender wells. And honestly, the good news is the outside was in not terribly bad shape from a dirt standpoint. And because it did rain overnight, it did help make all of this stuff loosened up to make it easier for me to pressure wash it off. One thing is, when you are washing your car on the outside, go ahead and spray inside that gas cap cover. Open up the doors, spray those door frames if you're going to be cleaning the interior anyways. It does help with your details to speed them up, just to go ahead and blast those things off with your pressure washer. Like I mentioned, it did rain the night before, and I was really happy because it didn't take as long to pressure wash this truck as it did the Jeep, which if you guys have seen the old Jeep videos with the mud on that thing, it took forever to pressure wash off. This one was probably a quarter of the time, which was honestly awesome because it was raining outside and it was kind of cold. Now, if you're wondering what this purple thing is that's hanging down, it's actually from the umbrella that I have zip tied to the camera to keep the rain off of it. And I didn't realize that it was in the shot. When I first started, it wasn't there, and then the umbrella spun in the wind. So that is why we have this purple hangy thing in the shot. Now I'm using my foam cannon to cover the truck in a complete layer of sudsy soap and inside the fender wells and the tires and the wheels to help bring any of that dirt that's caked on there, loosen it up a little bit more so when I hit it with my sponge, it makes it come off super easily. One thing to keep in mind when you are washing your car, always start with the tops first, work your way around the car, and save those bottom portions to last because those are the dirtiest and you don't want to put that dirt into the wash buckets and kind of cross-contaminate and bring it onto the upper levels if you can help it. Now for the wheels, I'm using this wheel and tire cleaner that I spray onto the tires and the wheels themselves. And then I also have an iron remover that I spray onto the wheels to remove any of the brake dust or any of that iron that gets caked on there from the road to help make sure that they are completely clean before we put on our tire dressing later on. I also have several brushes that I use for my wheels. One is for the actual tire itself, and then I have this brush that goes inside the spokes that I use to get inside the wheel drum and also behind the spokes to make sure that those wheels stay clean for a longer period of time. Since it is a fairly new truck, a lot of that stuff just came off really easily, which is nice. Now the final step is to spray the entire car off of all the soap and then try to pull it into the garage. And this is a really large truck and my garage isn't super deep, but because this truck is so big, I literally had to pull an Austin Powers here, and I was trying to maneuver the truck so it could go in lengthwise across the entire garage itself, but I failed miserably. And that is honestly one of the funniest parts about this next clip here, is me trying to go back and forth to make this thing fit, and it never happened. Now the reason why we didn't dry the car completely at this point is because we were going to clay bar the car. So using my clay lube and my clay bar, which is a real clay bar. I'm not really a super big fan of the synthetic clay. I've tried it in previous videos, but I always fall back to actually a real clay bar that you can knead and tear apart. And also you can see the contaminants a lot better, which you'll see here. Even though this is a low mileage truck, the kind of dirt that's being pulled off the paint, which is always something that you want to do before you apply any sort of sealant, wax, ceramic spray, ceramic coating. Clay barring is always a necessity in my opinion to remove those contaminants so you have the best bond possible with your top coat. Now, one thing about this truck that was really hard for me to not fix was the hologramming that somebody had put into the hood with a buffer. They really didn't know what they were doing, so the thing looked like crap on certain angles, but I didn't have enough time to correct those because the truck was due back the night of this detail. So I used my spray coat that is a ceramic spray just to coat the car, put some sort of sealant on it to protect it, but also give it some extra shine. But ideally, this truck needed a full paint correction, a proper paint correction, not whoever did this before. Remove all those scratches and then a real ceramic coating. But yeah, some of you guys will probably notice it and see it in some of these shots, and it was honestly the most cringeworthy thing to see that such a new truck had hologrammed, which is something that a lot of dealerships actually do on brand new cars, and it's really a hard thing for detailers to see. Now, like I mentioned, I'm running that Black Friday special, but these brushes are perfect for the inside and the outside of your car or truck or motorcycle or even inside your house. I've actually used my brushes a lot for kind of detailing around, trim inside my home. Honestly, they come in handy for a lot of different areas, not only just for your outside in your garage, but for inside as well. So if you're looking to pick some of those up, or microfiber towels or drying towels, like I said, I am running crazy specials right now, so make sure you go check those out after this video. When it comes to getting tire balm on tires, it is something that I struggle with, especially with truck tires because of the amount of knobs that are on the sides of it. So I'm using my applicator pad to put it on liberally, but then I'm also using those detailing brushes here to kind of swirl inside those different harder to get to spots that have a lot of ridges and grooves, and it helps make it more of a complete coverage onside the tire. And then I use my microfiber towel just to kind of remove anything excess. Now with the outside done, it's time to go on the inside, remove any of the large stuff out of the car, which includes Peggy Sue here. This is her legs for the deer that we had to remove from the actual bed of the truck as well. But start vacuuming up all this cornmeal for hunting, getting it all out of the car, getting all these floor mats out, and then kind of assess what needs to happen with this carpet. And it turned out pretty nice that not all of it needed to be extracted, just these certain portions where the floor mats didn't cover. One thing that actually happened a lot during this detail is Peggy Sue made a guest appearance quite a bit after her legs were put back on. So she kind of enjoyed watching the detail and kind of learning a few things. But obviously with any Stauffer garage detail, for the most part, is pulling out the front seats is the first thing once I get a lot of that stuff out of the car to see what we have underneath. And in this case, a lot of beer cans, a lot of food in between the door sills and the center console area. So pulling out those seats is definitely something I recommend if you haven't done it in a while in your car. Now I think with this being a hunter's truck, I think it's only right for anybody to comment down below if you've ever shot a gun or if you own guns. Just let me know in the comments below. Personally, I own several myself that I enjoy shooting, but I think it'll be kind of fun for everyone to see if you've ever shot a gun before. Now for the gas pedals or the dead pedal in particular, if you have any dirt on there, try to scrape it off with a screwdriver and get in between those different grooves because sometimes that dirt can be so caked in there from being pressed on so often that just using an all-purpose cleaner and a brush isn't adequate enough. You have to kind of wedge out some of that heavier stuff first before you spray on your cleaner to get the rest of it out. Now for carpets and for majority of you guys out there, using just an all-purpose cleaner on like a spot like this and a brush to agitate it and then a clean microfiber towel to wipe away that dirt from the surface will be adequate enough, especially if you have darker carpets. If you have a tan carpet, you might have to do more of an extraction, but for majority of stuff, as you can see here, just needs to be wiped away with an all-purpose cleaner and you can get most of your stains out. For the dashboard and any interior panel, because majority of them weren't super dirty, I just have an interior detailer that I am going to be carrying on my own personal website soon, but it's a very similar product to other detailers that are just a protectant for UV rays, but also a mild cleaner in one, and they work well for mild dust and for majority of details out there, getting those dashboards, getting those plastic panels looking like new again. And for me, my OCD always sets in at the end of a detail on the dashboard as I have to make sure all of the vents are lined up in the middle and directionally outwards perfectly straight, because if I don't do that, it will drive me nuts later on at the end of the detail. And I wasn't joking. Peggy Sue made several appearances in different spots and was always eager to be on camera. Now in the last detail, I showed this parts cleaner that I talked about briefly, but if you're ever looking to clean your jewelry, if you're looking to clean any sort of parts or toys or anything like that, you don't even have to use a degreaser or something heavier cleaner here. You could just use water or vinegar. But the best part about these things is it has ultrasonic and that it can heat up that liquid. But you can see here, just using the sound waves, all the little bubbles and pieces and the dirt coming off all of these bolts, just by sitting them in there for about 180 seconds, how much of that stuff comes off, and then make sure that it gets into every little pore by using the sound to resonate inside those different areas. For the seats in this car, I'm going to be using steam as the only solution to clean them. And the best part about steam is, one, it's just water. Two, you don't have a ton of it that gets saturated inside those fibers. But three, it is a great disinfectant at killing any sort of bacteria, mold, viruses, anything like that. It's a great thing, especially with the seasons kind of going on right now, at helping remove any stains from those seats and getting them clean. Well, crap. I think that's one thing to remember, that these seats weren't that dirty, and just using steam is actually a great way to disinfect if there's any sort of bacteria or mold or anything like that, but it also does a good job at getting it clean. And as you guys can tell, they're very clean, and the best part is they don't have to take a long time to dry. And since this car has to go back to the customer tonight, by just using steam, this will be dry in the next probably hour or so, and everything is perfectly clean. So it's a quicker way to get certain stains out, especially inside your car, without using an extractor, which the extractor has its place. It's really good at certain things, but for something like this where it's not super dirty, it just needs to get like the surface dirt off, steam cleaner is a great alternative. Now for the floor mats, the best part is they are rubber, which is great. And if you don't own a set of rubber floor mats, especially if you live in the north, I definitely recommend picking them up, because when it gets salty outside, or if you get mud on your boots or shoes, it is easy to clean those off just using a hose, or in this case, a pressure washer, because it's caked on there. And then I'm just using my all-purpose cleaner and my drill brush to make sure I get any of the residual dirt that the pressure washer doesn't get off removed. Like I mentioned earlier, the floor mats did a great job of protecting all of that cornmeal and that dirt and mud from getting onto a majority of the carpets. So almost all of the carpet in the back needed to be cleaned, but the fronts were pretty good, especially underneath the seats. I was glad to see that there wasn't any spills from dip or Coke or coffee or anything in between the seats and that center console. So the main portion of the carpet cleaning for this truck was on this rear area underneath that bench seat. And with the carpets, I use my carpet cleaning solution. I use my drill brush to agitate those fibers and get that dirt lifted up to the surface. And then I'm just using hot water in my extractor to suck up all of that dirt and carpet cleaning solution to make the carpets look like new again. Now, like I mentioned at the beginning, this detail started off in the rain, which honestly could have been taken as a negative, but for me it was a positive because it helped make all of the mud drip off and fall off pretty easily with the pressure washer, which made it awesome. So I didn't spend a ton of time outside. And once I got it inside, I got the clay bar going, got the carved paint looking amazing with that sealant. And then on the inside, it turned out that all of that stuff that fell on the back carpets didn't really soak in and cause the carpets to get stained tons. So it made the cleanup fairly easy, but the before and afters kind of show how much of a difference it makes with just using the steps I have in this video that you guys can follow along when it comes to cleaning your car as well, or truck. So I want to say thank you guys for watching today's video. Subscribe if you're new, and if you haven't subscribed, make sure you guys tune in every single week for my new video. And I want to say thank you guys for being part of the Stauffer Garage crew. I'll see you guys next week.